So this is me testing the microphone for the last time to be sure that okay, yeah, this thing have sense. Please do have sense.
How do you go about creating a link?
So this is me testing the microphone for. So I'm still testing the sound level. I just want to be sure that this thing is okay. And yes, I know I'm not the president, and when he's talking, he might talk louder than me.
is our second National Vice President, Town Planner Dr. Jibril Gariba, Fellow of the Institute. Round of applause for our second Vice National President. Next, we have our National Secretary, Town Planner Dr. Zani Mohammed, Fellow of the Institute. Seated to the right hand of our National President is our former Minister, Town Planner Dr. Ramatu Tijani. I was also Karike. Karike has all our things. A round of applause for our former Minister, Town Planner Dr. Ramatu Tijani, a fellow of the Institute. We also have in our midst other important dignitaries and fellows of the Institute. We have Town Planner Moreneke Babalula, fellow of the Institute. We have a former director retired from the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, Town Planner Dr. David Olagude. We have in our midst the chairman of the Association of Women Town Planners, Town Planner Rekia Rachel, fellow of the Institute. We have our royal father, who is also a town planner Stevie, also being part of the team. We have another fellow of the Institute, Town Planner Isala Andrew. So as more and more dignitaries is coming, we take the introduction. As we go through the program, for the first segment of this program, which is inauguration of the programs of the Committee on National Assembly, we invite the National President to give us a background of what this committee is all about.
The second National Vice President of Nigeria Institute of Town Planners, Town Planner Dr. Jibril Galva, here with us. The Honorable Minister, former Honorable Minister of State for Federal Capital Territory, Town Planner Dr. Tijani Aliu, COA. The National Secretary of the Institute of Town Planner Dr. Zayan Mohammed. Members of Nitp Presidential Committee and the National Assembly, distinguished fellows of the Institute who are here present, distinguished gentlemen of the France. This ceremony, by our standard, is considered a special ceremony. This is because it gives us the opportunity to advertise ours in the person of Town Planner Dr. Ramatu Tijani Aliu, Commander of the Order of Niger, who was a Minister of State, Federal Capital Territory, the Envoy Extraordinary of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, indeed the Vice Chairman, Association of Commonwealth Association of Women Town Planners. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, she is heading a committee that has been saddled with widening the image of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners. A committee that has to liaise with the National Assembly in all town planning matters. I want to inform us that it took the managing committee time to assemble the class of the membership of this committee. By the time they are fully introduced, you will understand that the profession of Nigerian Institute of Town Planners has men and women of substance. I would want to call out the names of other members of that special committee. And they include, apart from the chairman already mentioned, the Honorable Minister, Town Planner Dr. David Olakunle, fellow Nigerian Institute of Town Planners. Town Planner Caleb Bisala, fellow Nigerian Institute of Town Planners. Town Planner Richard Ahoza Fache, fellow Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, who is incidentally the national chairman Association of Women Town Planners in Nigeria. Then Town Planner Stephen Shekowose, let me also add that this is the man who has Abuja under his feet, the landlord of Abuja, the traditional ruler in charge of Abuja as a city, who is incidentally is a town planner. Please keep your hands together for me. We are expecting Town Planner Augustine, the fellow Nigerian Institute of Town Planners. I'm sure he will join us before long. So this is a committee the NITP has put together to work with the National Assembly to ensure that whatever is ours as members of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners is not taken away from us. It is the committee that will ensure that anywhere we have issues or challenges with the implementation of anything urban and regional planning law, be it at the national level, be it at the state level, this committee has been set up to resolve the issues and then bring our names as brighter as ever in relation to that issue that is targeted to be controlled. Having said so, ladies and gentlemen, let me invite the former Honorable Minister and Chairman of this committee to present their programs for inauguration. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much for having me and all of us here today, members of the committee. Being the Particular National President, Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, the first and second National Vice President of the Institute. Let me start by appreciating the indefatigable National President, Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, the first and second National Vice President of the Institute, the past presidents of the Institute here present, fellows of the Institute, members of the Institute's employees, distinguished guests, and gentlemen of the press. I am honored to assume the role of the chairman, NITP National Assembly, live in COP 2024-2020. Our committee's mandate is clear: to engage with the National Assembly on urban and regional planning issues. We will advocate for policies promoting sustainable development, enhance our profession's visibility and foster collaboration. We promise to carry out our best, Mr. President, that this committee will not let you down. I look forward to working with stakeholders to advance Nigerian development through effective urban and regional planning. On this note, we say once again, thank you very much, Mr. President, for finding us worthy of being the ambassadors of this very great work to the National Assembly and everywhere else that you did. Thank you very much.
We have a round of applause for our former minister, Planner Dr. Ramatu Tijani Aliu, CON, Envoy Extraordinary of the Nitp. Another round of applause for her and the entire committee. We want to thank her for the presentation of the programs of what they intend to do. At this juncture, we'll now call on the national president to formally inaugurate their programs. Mr. President, sir.
Yeah, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I wish, on behalf of the National Council of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, to formally inaugurate this special committee, saying the following. The inauguration of the programs of the Presidential Committee on the National Assembly is an avenue to mandate and motivate the committee members to take the advocacy of implementation of urban and regional planning legislation to the National Assembly towards achieving its full implementation. In doing this, the committee is also to ensure and strengthen the collaboration between the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners and the legislative bodies in Nigeria. This is to recognize the legislative role of the National Assembly and its powers in shaping urban policies. The Presidential Committee members are also saddled with the responsibility of expressing the concern over the unstructured framework of town planning in Nigeria. Thus, the inauguration of this program will embolden it to advocate for the integration of urban and regional planning into the national development strategies and ensure that the urban growth translates into sustainable development. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I hereby inaugurate the programs of the committee.
Another round of applause for the national president for inaugurating the programs of this special committee. We're almost coming to the end of this first lap of the program. If you look at your program, the last aspect of it is a vote of thanks. And I would like to invite Town Planner Dr. David Olakunde to give a vote of thanks on behalf of the committee members. Sir.
The President, Chairman of the Council, the Second Vice National President, the Honorable Minister, former Honorable Minister of State, FCT, and the National Assembly. Founders of institutes that are here present, the past chairpersons of FCT, Mrs. Moreno, and the press, the general press that are here present. I think one of the I think we're going to do is thank you. Thank you. But in saying that, we have to appreciate the Nigerian Company for finding us worthy to the members of this committee. Our chairman has said this, and she has pledged to the president council, which I understand this duty to uphold all the capability. So I'm very confident that just the rest assured we will give it all our best and see that we achieve the mandate given to us. So once again, we say thank you for finding us out of this committee and formally inaugurating us. So we thank you for this. Thank you, sir.
A round of applause for Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this press segment of this press conference, which has been that of the inauguration of the programs of the committee of the Nitp National Assembly. Without wasting time, we'll move on to the second segment, which is that of the press conference. So I will hand over the mic to the National President to dwell on his speech as regards in this press conference. Over to you, National President, sir.
Your distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to stand on the already established protocol to go ahead and address the press. The topic of this press briefing is urban and regional planning and national development. Urban and regional planning plays a pivotal role in the socio-economic advancement of a nation. Its proper execution ensures the following: optimal utilization of resources, efficient transportation systems, sustainable infrastructure development, adequate housing. Moreover, urban and regional planning catalyzes national economic growth, attracts investments, and generates employment opportunities. It enhances the overall quality of life for citizens by alleviating poverty and reducing inequality. Enhances the overall quality of life for citizens by alleviating poverty and reducing inequality. Mitigates the proliferation of unregulated open spaces that serve as sanctuaries for criminal elements and other lawless individuals. It deters the emergence and persistence of slums and informal settlements in urban areas through inclusive planning that addresses the needs of every societal segment. We wish to commend the federal and various state governments for, one, the establishment of the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, and the ratification of the new urban development policy under the same ministry. We may wish to understand that before that ministry was created, that the profession of urban and regional planning was hidden in the larger Ministry of Federal Ministry of Works, Housing, and Environment. But in the wisdom of Mr. President, who is a strategist, he decided, because of the importance he attaches to the profession of urban and regional planning, to create a separate ministry for the built environment, thus the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. We want to commend him for that, and then for other things he has done for the profession. There is also the creation of the Federal Ministry of Regional Development, along with regional development commissions across the country's geopolitical zones. This is another one that the President performed. This ministry is very close to the heart of every planner in the country, because our thing is that it will address most of the planning challenges in Nigeria. We also want to commend the Lagos State government for its steadfast commitment to to the domestication and implementation of the Nigerian Urban and Regional Planning Law. The Federal Capital Territory Minister, we also want to commend him too, because for a very long time, most people thought that the way Abuja were before he came in was the way Abuja should be. But we have seen him going into some provisions of the master plan of Abuja and ensuring that most of them come into fruition. We commend him for doing this. We also want to use this opportunity as a professional body to commend the Enugu State Government for instituting 56 town planning authorities to ensure that every square meter of the state is meticulously planned and regulated. These commendable initiatives represent significant strides towards harnessing urban and regional planning to promote sustainable socio-economic development. However, to fully realize the potential of planning, we urge the federal government, the states, and local governments to, as much as possible, so as a matter of urgency, one, constitute a national planning commission with comprehensive support to implement the provisions of the Nigerian Urban and Regional Planning Law of 1992. Let me state here that by the promulgation of the Nigerian Urban and Regional Planning Law in 1992, that same law stated that all previous laws about urban and regional planning in Nigeria were repealed by that URP law. If all previous laws were repealed by the 1992 Nigerian Urban and Regional Planning Law, I want to ask distinguished colleagues and gentlemen of the press, which law then are we using in Nigeria? Since that same law is still today not being implemented. That's the question we should take home, analyze, maybe come back and give us results. We also wish to bring to the attention of government the need to establish and empower local planning authorities in all the 774 local government headquarters in Nigeria and other growth centers. For us, the planning authorities remain the closest town planning institution to the people. And if we get them established as we are suggesting, if we bring down the rates of unapproved structures, and of course by extension, the rate of demolition within the Nigerian space. Because once the authorities are far away from the people, it might affect their willingness to submit the applications for approval. It is also the thinking and wish of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners that our government should explore the feasibility of creating an urban upgrading / regeneration agency to revitalize and redevelop our deteriorating urban areas and infrastructure. This will bolster the economy of citizens and enhance government revenue. We also call upon all professional bodies within the built environment to advocate for and support the establishment of the Urban Upgrading Agency. These initiatives will amplify our full potential, promote best practices, and foster sustainable urban and regional development in the country. Town planning has evolved from a reactive stance towards unplanned developments to a proactive approach aimed at fostering sustainable, inclusive, and forward-thinking development that enhances national progress. It now embodies a visionary endeavor that strategizes for a sustainable future rather than merely mitigating the repercussions of unregulated and stagnant urban development and policies. The Institute also wants to draw the attention of the government and people of this country on the need to have master plans prepared and implemented for every higher institution in Nigeria. Yes. In this way, there is a strong need for every higher institution of learning to have a master plan prepared for its orderly growth and development. While the policy and its implementation are in existence, it has become necessary for the National Universities Commission, NUC, and the National Board for Technical Education, MBTE, to enforce the above regulations with the precision they deserve. We are worried as a professional body that it is the absence of this vital fiscal guidance document, otherwise campus master plan, that has continued to cause confusion in the appointment of director of fiscal planning in our various higher institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, conventionally, consultants and planners are saddled with the responsibilities of preparing master plans for our universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. The documents so prepared and approved by the relevant town planning agency of government controls the orderly fiscal growth and development of every campus. Ideally, the town planner who prepares this document is the best qualified to be in charge of its implementation. Or what do you think? Accordingly, distinguished colleagues and gentlemen of press, the appointment of Director of Fiscal Planning should be the exclusive reserve of registered town planners. This is to ensure that all provisions in the approved campus master plans are implemented without confusion, since the producer of the document is the implementer of the document. Then Nitp also has discovered in recent times the confusion in our implementation of the Geographic Information System and the duties of the town planning departments, lands, and survey departments in our various ministries, both at the national and state levels. Thus, it has become necessary for us to appeal to our various governments this way. Governments, in their attempts to mistake GIS for overall planning, land surveying, and lands departments in the management of their land resources, we need to clear this confusion. It should be noted that the GIS as a system is not an end to itself, but a means to an end, just like other components in land management. We are saying this because in recent time, what institute has discovered is that in many states of the Federation, the town planning departments are no longer functional. The survey departments are no longer as functional as it used to be, just like the lands department. It is important for us to note that for the GIS to function appropriately, it depends on the production of plans from the town planning department, persuasion of such plans by the survey department. Otherwise, if these departments that produce these vital raw materials are excluded completely in the management of land resources of the state, there will be confusion everywhere. It has also become necessary too that in the appointment of whosoever that has the GIA department or division or unit, care must be taken to ensure that such appointment head must have a good background in either urban and regional planning or land survey. This is just to ensure that we don't get confused at the end of the day. There will be conflict in interest. Having said so, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank the National Council of the Institute. I want to thank members of National Executive Committee, members of the Management Committee. I want to thank all of you gathered here, especially the press, and wish that at the end of this gathering, we take home the news and all the recommendations from the Nigerian Institute of Land Planners to our various schools and the various organizations we represent. Our thinking is that this address should change a lot of things in the management of urban and regional planning in Nigeria. God bless all of us.
We have another round of applause for Mr. President. So, ladies and gentlemen of the press, we've listened to the National President's press conference. I believe we'll have a couple of questions for Mr. President. So, can we have the questions now?
Okay, good morning, Mr. President and members of the committee. Thank you for the privilege to ask questions based on the presentation just like the President. So, we're starting. My name is Isa Moon from Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, the media coordinator. However, I'll be starting the question from the Ghana correspondent. Ghana will be asking the question in the Good morning, Mr. President. Thank you for the presentation. My name is Sadiq Obalari. I write for the Guardian newspapers. I have two questions. One is for the chairman of the presidential committee, and the second question is for you, Mr. President. My question regarding that of the committee is that we already have an existing law that has to do with urban development. When this committee is part of the mandate of the committee to also call for the review of the existing law. Is there an aspect of the law that the committee will be pushing for, whether for insertion or for removal? And the second question, Mr. President, is I want to know why the institute is actually asking for a separate ministry for urban development when we have an existing ministry of housing and urban development. Is it that the existing ministry cannot, do the work to ensure that the mandate of other development is achieved? Thank you. So the second question will be coming from the Daily Trust. Good morning, everyone. My name is Abdul Latif Salam. Right from Daily Trust, I also provide the National Assembly. I understand that the body submitted a bill to the National Assembly to review the existing urban and regional planning law. So we would like to know the progress that has been made so far regarding the bill. Is the bill, still in the National Assembly, past first reading, second reading? What has been done to the bill so far? Thank you very much. Well, that's the question session. As I said, my name is Mr. Anu. Mr. President, thank you for that beautiful remarks and very good press release. My concern here, I remember some years back, a professor in the University, Professor M. Fisher, stated that our community should be a reflection of how our institutions are. For instance, for those of us that actually have you see the way it is, the way the landscape of everything is put in place.
So our community outside the university environment should reflect such. And I can see that you raised so many issues with regards to the issue of our tertiary institution. Why is that at this present time we find it very difficult to see town planning or town planners heading this position in our institution? Because most of the time, discover the position that town planners are supposed to hold on to are being given to from maybe electrical or mechanical engineer. Are you concerned about this development? And secondly, for the last 10 years,
Professor Ahmed is now the
president.
president.
Most of the states now, what we have is, for instance, if you go to Borno State, we have coaches, Borno State Geographical Infrastructure Information System. If you go to Gombe State, you have coaches. If you come to Kogi State, you have coaches. So it cuts all across. Is this replacing the role of town planning in our society today? Thank you.
So these are the questions that have been put forward. Mr. President will take some of the questions that relate to him. And there's another question that is for the former minister, Dr. Ramatu Tijanalil. She will also take that question. So I'll start with Mr. President first, then go to the minister.
Yeah, my brother from the Guardian newspaper. You're right. We have an existing law that is not being implemented. By the wisdom of the immediate past administration, which I was part of, a copy of that law was sent to the National Assembly for a review. Along the line, the review passed the first reading, but it could not go to the subsequent readings of the House. In our own wisdom, because we're talking about a law promulgated since 1992. I want to inform you that as we speak, most of the Nigerians, professionals, the town planners, the architects, the engineers that actually crafted the law, many of them are already dead. I think we have 2 of them left. And as a matter of fact, we are worried that if we continue to ask for review, and years after years, the reviews are not forthcoming, that it might imply our wish that the remaining 2 members of that committee that crafted the law should also die, that they wouldn't witness what they proposed in the best interest of all Nigerians. We felt that it would be better for us to go straight and implement the law as promulgated by the federal government. Then, in the course of the implementation of the law, if flaws are discovered, then I think it might be the appropriate time to call for a review. That is why we said that this law we're talking about is where the life and the expectations of younger town planners lie, even the consultants. Because that's the only law in the whole country that is indigenous. The law that took care of who we are, how we behave, and so on and so forth. So its implementation will guarantee Nigeria moving from where we are now, the urban crisis we are facing, to something better. Because it is only in that law that you have provisions for preparation of various scales of laws, starting from the national level, regional, state, and the local government. We can't continue to wait. Otherwise, we keep waiting, and more and more of the proposed beneficiaries will continue to pass away. So the idea, those of us who are football fans, we are engaging in what we call direct free kick, not indirect free kick. And like we all know, more goals are scored through direct free kick than indirect free kick. If you go for a review of a law that has not been implemented, even when you succeed, you will still come back to ask for implementation. Why don't we go for implementation? And if flaws are discovered, we call for review. Thank you very much. Then, there was the question of asking for a new ministry. I don't know if we listened to my address. We decided to remove that recommendation because as we speak, the Honorable Minister in charge of Housing and Urban Development is a very friendly minister to urban and regional planning. If you remember, recently he came out with a new urban development policy for Nigeria. And that policy addresses most of the needs of the profession. And remember again that urban and regional planning as a profession has housing as a subset of urban and regional planning. It also has urban development as a subset of urban and regional planning. If we are asking for a new ministry, who owns the existing one? That was why we had to drop it. We are through with the present minister and the ministry. Thank you very much. Yes, it's in the course of my address, I think that matter was handled. But for purposes of emphasis, if you are in a university, the Nigerian Universities Commission recommends that every university should have a campus master plan. So it's a prerequisite for anybody to set up a university. But the question is, who prepares the campus master plan? If we don't know, it is the responsibility of consultants in urban and regional plan to prepare a campus master plan, just like every other master plan, right? If he prepares a plan, the purpose he serves is to guarantee orderliness in the university, because we do call it the citadel of learning. It should be the best of all places. Okay? So the master plan, or if you like, the campus master plan, ensures that every development within the campus is in accordance with the ideals, the goal of that university. The professional who prepares that, like we all know, is a town planner. Okay? There is confusion everywhere in the appointment of director of fiscal planning in our various higher institutions. This is because most of these institutions did not adhere to the request of the Nigerian University Commission or the National Board for Technical Education, as the case may be. Once a master plan is prepared, between you and I, will it be better implemented by somebody who did not prepare the master plan, or better implemented by the person that prepared the master plan? Certainly better implemented by the person who prepared the plan. Yes, and that is why we have as a body, it's been an error in the past, that all errors must be corrected. This is the time to correct that error. The director of fiscal planning in any high institution should be a town planner. Because it's better for us, for the man who prepared, to manage what he prepared and give pieces of advice as necessary, so that our universities and other high institutions do not become slum, while they are referred to as citadel of higher learning. That's a very strong point we are making. That error should be corrected. It is the exclusive reserve of a registered town planner who is a consultant to prepare a campus master plan and then supervise its implementation. Thank you very much. Okay. So I wouldn't know whether you still want the Honorable Minister to. Okay, just let's listen.
Thank you very much. I want to pass the President has already said before, but for each person, it's just an addendum and what the President has said. And there is no any other now. I'm back to the question of if we are going to push for review or not, as succinctly put by the national president himself. The mandate of the committee is very clear. It is certainly to the responsibility of liaising with the National Assembly on all urban and regional planning matters, including but not limited to implementation of the law. And you have made it very clear, time 2001, the Nigerian Institute of Town Plan has been pushed for the review. But if it never came to fruition, there are so many ways to go. That means this present administration is now resolved to start the emphasis, lobbying for the implementation of the law. And I will just simply put it that the practice of urban and regional planning laws is governed by laws and regulations, including the Urban and Regional Planning Law of 1992, which unfortunately is not is not put into operation. And for the law not being operationalized, what law is Nigerian development guided under? That calls for the concern of the institution of all professional town planners. And that also I was concerned. The headquarters we have in President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is a man who already know that is town planning conscious. For his administration and governing of Lagos State, he ensured implementation of this law. In fact, barred the law, Lagos State law, planning law, which effectively puts Lagos State ahead of others in development. You can see it is very organized as we have today, leading to enormous resources generation for the state. What am I talking about? Ensuring and enabling the implementation of the planning law as promulgated will not only support Nigeria's development, but will catapult Nigeria's development and revenue generation. And I know we are not making a mistake by again attempting to go back to lobby, to liaise, to solidify relationship with the National Assembly that is responsible for the legislation of laws to come back. If eventually an application that we are certain will come about leads to the review of the law, so be it. Every other citizen, every legislator, every executive arm, we actually know that the law requires a review. That function is yours and mine. For nation building is a collective responsibility. But for now, we will push for the implementation, actualization of the implementation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Just the last question, please, coming from housing. The last question.
Good evening, Mr. President. Thank you for that speech. My name is Mimi Tono from Housing TV Africa. So you're talking about sustainable infrastructure and to promote eco-friendly and sustainable environment. you have to put something in place. So I would want to know how the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners are collaborating with other agencies to decongest areas, urban areas which are congested, to ensure that we have an eco-friendly system, and some areas which are prone to flood. What is the institute doing to ensure that some of these areas are free from flood? Yes, the Nigerians keep warning, but a lot of people have nowhere to go. That's their area. So, what is the National Institute doing to ensure that these people live in a good environment and eco-friendly areas? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, my sister.
Thank you, sir. That those are all the questions from the journalists. Thank you so much.
Thank you. When it comes to sustainable infrastructure and our relationship with other bodies, I want to inform us that presently Nigeria is heading into an urban crisis. The urban crisis is as a result of the fact that the rate of urbanization is higher than the rate of provision of basic infrastructure in our various settlements, especially in the urban areas. Every day, people keep moving from the rural areas to the urban areas. And they are moving to a settlement they were not pre-informed of housing provisions for them as they arrive. They will get into the urban area. The next thing they discover is that they have no place to live, no place to work, right? And that is continuously happening. We envisage that at a point, there will be this serious urban crisis. And that is why the Institute has always said that for us to achieve the goal of the Institute, which of course should be the goal of the Nigerian government, to have a resilient settlement, a livable settlement. For us to achieve that, we, as a people of this nation, must go back and begin to give the urban and regional planning profession its rightful place in the development of the country. It's been our advocacy that before any settlement is set up, there should be a master plan prepared ahead of time. The master plan determines who and who could be accommodated in the settlement being planned, how many industries are going to be provided to give employment to those who will eventually inhabit the city, how many primary schools are needed in each of the neighborhoods within the master plan. Because it's not just enough to allow a settlement grow organically into an urban area. When that does, what you achieve is a slum. But when a plan is made ahead of time, the type of the plan determines who should live in there, how many are going to be living there, so that they can be covered, their needs can be covered by the provisions made in the settlement. Until we begin to do this, the crisis appears inevitable. So, the advocacy of the Institute is that no settlement should be allowed to grow on its own. Every settlement should be planned, and provisions made for those who are going to inhabit it. Once that is done, once government begins to take us serious on some of these matters of urgent need, Nigeria will be better. Thank you very much. And remember, the emphasis we've always laid is on the immediate implementation of the Nigerian Urban and Regional Planning Law as promulgated in 1992. Let me tell you one thing. Every year in this country, we talk about flooding. Every year we talk about flooding. As if we had all the while been sleeping. As if we had forgotten that what happened a year ago would repeat this year. And if we are well aware that what happened, like for instance, flooding a year ago will repeat itself, what have we been doing to ensure that there will be no repeat of the previous bad situation? And that is why we said, if we begin to implement in the Nigerian urban and regional planning law as promulgated, some of these issues will just end automatically. I'll give you an instance. The commission, which the law demands that be set up at the national level, when it is set up, who are going to constitute that commission? The commission is going to be constituted by relevant professionals in the built environment, the town planners, the engineers, the architects, the land surveyors, estate valuers, quantity surveyors, builders. What were these professionals trained for? In their various universities, they were trained to handle the environment, to manage the environment. Flooding is part of the problem these professionals should handle as soon as the commission is set up. Now, I'm from Enugu State. The Honorable Minister is from Kogi. The Second National Vice President is from Kaduna State. At our individual states, we know how many rivers, for instance, that has a source from Enugu State. How many rivers that have their source from Kaduna? How many from Kogi? Just like every one of us here. So when professionals in the built environment are handed over the management of the environment, these issues will be a thing of the past. Because from the state you come from, as being a town planner, you already know how many rivers has a source from your state. What's the direction of flow of the river? What is the size of the flow? I mean, what is the size of the river? So when all of us gather from different parts of the country, we should be able to say, yes, this is the strength of the river in my state, or rivers in my state. The other one will say this flow. It is from there that a national drainage plan should be evoked to guide the construction of whether it is dams or drainages or whatever. We stay there and advise the government, this is what should be done. This is how it should be done. So that the issue of flooding will become a thing of the past as far as the country is concerned. So our advocacy for the implementation of the law is not for town planners as professionals. It is for Nigerians as a people. Because whatever affects one Nigerian, whether you like it or not, affects every other Nigerian. And if you don't condemn anything that has happened to a section of the Nigerian people, you are wasting your time. Because eventually, it might affect you. Your brother might be there. For instance, we had a flooding some time ago in Niger State. Many people lost their lives, lost their properties. And I can assure you that unless we set up this national urban and regional planning commission at the national level, these issues will continue to reoccur. But it's not our wish that they should continue to reoccur. And that is why we are calling that the law should be implemented. That's the role you have to play as professionals. Like I told a TV organization in Enugu the other day, the Nigerian Institute of Government does not control any budget, any federal budget, any state budget. We don't have the money. But what we have is what we are giving to the country. Advocacy on how the Nigerian environment should be better managed. Thank you very much.
Can we have another round of applause for our national president, town planner, Dr. Chimbo Bona? And then another round of applause for our former minister, town planner, Dr. Ramatu Tijani Aliu, CNN Envoy Extraordinary of the Nitp. So, for the press, also want to thank you for the questions you put forth. For the want of time, we might not take other questions for now. You can forward some of the questions later if you do have them. So we will now call on our second National Vice President, Town Planner Dr. Jibrin Gariba, for a vote of thanks as well as closing remark for this press conference.
Just let me make one comment. Let me recognize please, before I hand the microphone over to our able second National Vice President, let me use this opportunity to recognize the presence of the woman we call Mama Abuja. Yes, that is Town Planner Mrs. Morenike Babalova. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. The second vice.
26th National President of Nigeria Counters, Mr. thanking you for the leadership and commitment to achieving the noble goals of Nigerian historical plans. Sir, we thank you. The National President, together with the National Public Relations Secretary, let me jointly appreciate you for hosting this event successfully. Our Honorable Minister of FCT, Minister of State FCT, former Town Planner Dr. Ramon Tijani Aliu, CON, Envoy Extraordinary of Nigeria Institute of Town Planners, and Chairman, Presidential Committee on National Assembly Matters. We cannot thank you enough, but we believe in your capacity to lead this noble committee to a greater height. Thank you so much for your commitment to NITP. The distinguished members of the Presidential Committee on National Assembly, I can see these are our best 11.
Sure.
In fact, they are all leaders, and every led by our former minister. We believe the result will be celebrated next year by God's grace. We thank you for your presence and commitment as well. Our money in the house and the money of the chapter, the money at national, we thank you for your commitment to the institute. Thank you so much, and we appreciate your presence, man. To our friends of NITP, yours is special because we believe whatever we lost here without you, nobody will hear us. So we need you to help us to blow our trumpet. And you are already committed partners in the built environment. You are already committed partners in the shared responsibility of ensuring Nigeria survives. Nigeria become a resilient city, with resilient cities, inclusive cities, and the best we can have as a human being. So we believe in the press our best partners in pursuing these noble objectives. We thank you for your equal commitment to the noble objectives of this noble institute. We thank you once again for your presence and pray that you extend the discussions here today to every branch of Nigeria. Thank you so much. To our media team, we appreciate you for your welcome. To our members, I can see the former Deputy Executive Secretary is here. Okay. We thank you, sir, for your presence. Our other members of the institute that are here and friends of the institute, we thank you on behalf of the Nigerian Institute of Accountants for your presence as well. I want to finally thank everyone that is here or committed this journey. Thank you all and God bless you all. Thank you so much.
The National President, the National High School of the Nitp, the members of the National Assembly Committee, the press, crew, and members of the public have come to the end of today's press conference. We want to thank you all for being part of this event and safe journey back to your destinations.
Honorable Minister.